What's up, guys? This is your boy Spider 1000 MTG, and this is the first episode of my 7 Days to Die kind of playthrough. Actually, more or less a tutorial. Hi, I'm Spider 1000 MTG, and yes, we're going to get this going. First thing we're going to do is talk about a little bit of 7 Days to Die, concepts, abilities, everything else that's associated with this. Stop saying that. Sorry. We're gonna really work with, for more or less people who started out on console. PC is totally different kind of playthrough. It's a lot more intricate and a little bit more difficult when it comes to learning the mechanics. Console between PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are generally a little bit more easy to get the basic context. So I'm gonna give you more or less the meat and potatoes of it and show you how I would start out when it comes to 7 Days to Die, which biomes that you need to consider when starting a base, how you start your base, which is probably going to be broken down into a couple series. We're going to work on a couple concepts, what you need to be doing, what days you need to be scavenging, what days you need to be building, what days you need to pair. All of that is going to get covered in this, so we're going to get started in this playthrough. Now, generally, these are just character selections. These are not like how PC is, where you can design your character. Sometimes they have pre-loaded characters on here, like what you see right here. This is probably one of my favorite characters, Lee. Ooh, sorry, tongue twisted. Pete is another favorite one. Crazy Willie is another guy I used to start with a lot. I think his name was Willie. Yeah, Willie. Willie was another guy. And then is my favorite female on this is Michonne from Walking Dead, and they do have a couple other characters on here from Walking Dead, but Lee is from the Walking Dead series that is on Telltale. But we do have some characters from the Walking Dead series, and we have characters from the actual Walking Dead TV series, like Glenn, Lily, Molly, Carly. These are Walking Dead characters. And then you got Michonne. So we're gonna start off with Michonne because that's my girl and she's a badass chick. There's really no like specialty difference. Like, they all have different abilities. They all basically are the same. They're basically all the same. So it is really no different like kind of abilities or skill sets they have. Each different character is just basically the face. Now, generally, there's two kind of games: Random Gem and Nav's Game. Nav's Game is a prerequisite game that has everything. No matter how many times you start the game over, everything is going to be at the same location, at the same place every time. So no matter what happens, you're always going to have these POIs or point of interest that is always going to be set up on Nav's Game. Random Gen is more or less the random generated world, as it says, random. So it's a random generated world where basically whatever you name this game is going to be determine how towns are going to be placed on their map. POI is going to be placed on the map, and is randomly done every time. Now, the only time it's ever the same if you use a particular name and you erase the world and you do it again. Then it doesn't randomly pop, it just basically goes off the last name, so it's always going to be there. But every different name that you name the world would set up the whatever would randomly set up a world. Now we go to our options, where we set up our options. Generally, difficulty settings. Most people start out the easiest settings designed for noobs, which is scavenger, adventure. Not just a new recruit anymore. That means you're a little bit skilled, but you still have some stuff to learn. Nomad, you're experienced player now. I generally live on warrior and higher. So since this is a tutorial, more speak, I'm gonna do nomad, because nomad is kind of like a balance in the middle area, so I like that. But generally, I would suggest most people start off with scavenger or adventure. Now, the zombies. You can change the status of each zombie by saying, well, do you want them to always walk or walk? Now, generally, the default setting is that zombies only run at night and walk during the day. Now, you can say that they never run at all, so that means no matter if it's morning or night, they'll never run. Or you can always say they always run, no matter if it's morning or night, they're always going to run. Now, when zombies are able to run and detect you, it makes them a lot harder to kill. Not difficult, but harder to kill. And then you have to start taking into consideration of your scavenge time when you start looting for stuff, because then at that time, if they detect you, they'll run, and makes it a little harder. Never run means that they'll always walk, so it takes them a little bit longer to reach you. Always run gives them a fair advantage of reaching you very quickly. Default is just the standard. They walk during the day, but at 9 o'clock at night, if they detect you or see you outside, they'll run at you. So I generally leave it on default. Some people always put them on always run. Now, aggression mode, meaning that controls how aggressive zombies are. Feral means zombies are all very aggressive and can sense you even through walls at night. So normal aggression means that they can sense you. Feral means they can sense you more like on every 7 days in this game. You have a horde night or a blood moon, and every zombie is on feral. No matter where you at, they can sense you. So generally, most people leave them on normal. Now, daylight length. I generally like to get the most time out of my day. How many hours the sun shines per day. So I give it to 1800 hours, 18-hour limit, or 1800 hours. After 1800 hours, then it becomes 1900 hours. 1900 hours means that it's dark. 2200 hours, which is not 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. That's when zombies become feral. In a way, but they don't necessarily able to sense you through walls. They can sense you through walls, but they can't see you. So that's pretty good. Set it out. Now, modded options. Now, when you die, and most of the time, most people will die on this run. When you do die, you have the option to delete all, which is your tool belt and your backpack, or to drop your backpack. So drop your backpack only. So whenever you die, whatever's in your backpack becomes dropped, and it shows up on a map as a blue backpack. Now you can go back to that exact same spot and pick up your stuff that was in the backpack. And it will remain on the map. Same thing with the tool belt. It will do the same thing. But that means you'll keep everything on your backpack that was in your backpack, but your tool, anything that's on your tool belt, that's gone. Or you can say everything, so your tool belt and your backpack will be dropped on death. I generally like the just the backpack only. Enemy memory. So this is the time in real seconds that a zombie will pursue something it has sensed in the world. So it means how long the zombie will chase you. But during the day, you can generally outrun a zombie during the day because they're not very fast. Except dogs. Dogs are okay. Sometimes you just can't outrun them. The only way you can outrun them is with a mini bike. Okay. Enemy spawning. I had it on disable for another run, but we're not. We're gonna go medium, which is 100%. Zombies going to spawn in. Block durability, how much damage in a world can take. Damage they take. Loot respawn time. I generally like 5 days. So if you scavenge a crate or a chest in the world, it respawns about 5 days from the time that you do it. Loot abundance. The percentage of loot to spawn in containers and on zombies, 200%. But generally, nobody should tell you how to run your game. It's on how you run your game. 24-hour cycle. So it takes 1 hour real time for 2 days to go in their time. So about 1 hour my time will equal about 2 hours in their time. Mark airdrops, yes. So this way, whenever your airdrops come in, oh, I forgot. Airdrops every 72 hours. Yeah, every 3 days is good. You don't want to get over zealous with that. You want to mark them airdrops on your map so you can find them. Same thing about mini bikes. Now cheat mode, I could use cheat mode, but I'm not. This is just a regular tutorial. So I'm not going to do cheat mode to do that unless I'm doing a creative one. And really just I change those back. Every 5 days. Okay, so we got everything. Sorry about that. Back up and running. I'm ready to start our game. Now, generally, I will have some seeds. I'd like to give a shout out to Crackpot, Texas, who does seed mats. And generally, I would do one of his, but I'm just going to do one for the fun of it. So I'm going to use this one. It might be a crappy seed, I don't know. But we're going to play. And here we go. Now we're going to have... I'm playing this one on Xbox One. Cause this is really a console playthrough. I am going to do a PC one once I get a little bit more familiar with things. We're gonna go PC one. But we also gonna start off with a couple things here. Now, first, we're gonna talk about what happens when you first spawn in. You're gonna get some mini quests, but generally, when you first spawn in, you want to take a look at where you would like to set up your base. That's the first and foremost. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 6 biomes there. Now, the biomes determine, I can let you know my top places to actually start biomes and start bases. Since this is going to be a playthrough / tutorial, we're going to do, I'm explaining the top biomes to start out with. Okay, so let's start off. Deadland. The wastelands can be unforgiving place. You are looking like you can use some help. Blah blah blah. And closing instructions. Okay, you get that every time you start a new game. You get that message. Now, the first thing to do is really look at where you're at. Take the map. Look at the elevation of where you're at. So I'm at positive 93. Very, very high. Because when I start doing my mid game, I have to consider how high I am from when I want to do mines and everything else for resources wise. So generally, the higher you are, the more digging you're gonna have to do to get to bedrock. Bedrock is your friend, and it's basically a safe haven for you. So now I'm starting getting some plant fiber up, because we're going to need a lot. Now, in console we have spam crafting, but I'm not going to do that, and I'm explaining what spam crafting is. Now, first thing, spam crafting is constantly doing something over and you're basically spamming something. Depending on what it is. Like if I'm making tools, I'm spamming tools to increase my level. And generally you'll spam your tools to get higher quality tools. So this way you can get more resources, bang for your buck when it comes to resources. But I'll explain that later. But right now, I'm trying to get up wood and plant fiber. And we gotta get out of here soon. But as I said, first of all, when you first start in here, you want to look at where you're surrounded. And we're going to talk about biomes. Now, this biome right now that we're in is called the grass biome. And the grass-wood biome, forest biome. And generally, it's not a bad place to start out. The only problem is, I wouldn't say a problem, but then you have to find a constant water supply, which they generally have in this area. Like a lot of rivers, lakes, and things like that. Oh, I can take that right. That's gonna come in handy later when I start planning. Oh, there's a house. Now, this POI is pretty good. Problem is, it's high. But I keep getting off topic. I'm sorry. We're going to keep going over biomes. Now, the biome we're in is good for probably animals. You'll get a lot of animals in here in the forest area. But you won't is generally sometimes it's hit and miss because you have to find a water source. See, there's an animal. Now, since I'm starting out, I don't have any weapons to kill this animal. So we're not going to get him. But he's trapped on a tree. Let's see if I can punch him to death. Oh, never mind. Here you go. So, it's pretty good to start out in a grass biome because you get a lot of animals and a decent water supply if you find a lake or something. But what we're going to try to do is go down and... Where's that? Need that. I need to get moving. Now, it's not bad because you get a lot of this stuff here in this biome and a lot of animals, but generally it's not the perfect ideal place to actually start out at. It's a decent place. Now, most of the times you probably want to start yourself out near a town or find a POI near town. A place where you constantly can loot at. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Now, let's go in order on which biomes you should be picking. Now, generally with me, and this is credited to another player that I saw play a lot, and she taught me a lot. And she generally likes to start in the desert biome. The desert biome is really like the optimum and best place to start out because, and I'll explain why. The desert biome has a lot of key things in here that is necessary. There's a zombie. Don't have time for you today. And the reason why is it has the most optimistic food source in there. See all these animals? I don't have a damn thing to kill them. Now, and the reason why it's such an optimum place to start in is because you have abundance of food, which is necessary. A real abundance of food. And what you mean by that, even though you have some animals and then stuff in the snow, in the sand desert biome, the reason why it's such a good place to start out because you have abundance of food. You don't have to really go hunting or get lucky on hunting so early in the game. And the reason why is that is mine. And it's not a bad house either. And the reason why is because you can live off the cactus and the snow, the desert biome for a long period of time. And it's easy to plant. And you can live off it for abundance of time before you can get meat or you get your vegetables grown. it's a well sustainable. Plus, you don't have to be buying necessary water source when you got cactus because you can survive off of cactus juice. So those are two necessarily good reasons why most people, well, not most people, but why I like to start. I like to say I will start at the desert biome. Then when it becomes late game, it gives you a lot of iron and oil shell. And oil shell is necessary to make gas in this game. So when you get your mini bike and your motorized weapons, motorized tools like your auger and your chainsaw, you basically have a sustainable fuel source. A sustainable fuel source for your motorized tools. Hopefully, I'm going towards. Let me make sure I'm not heading towards Hub City because that's the worst place when I am. Oh, that sucks. Okay, I'm heading towards the town of some, so to speak. We can probably make a base, a quick base here tonight, but this is probably not going to be a base I want to keep. Shanway Foods. Got a Shanway Foods. That's not a place I will put a base at either. Thought this was a town. Next biome that will probably another optimum starting is the plains biome, which is probably the next thing close to a desert, but not. The plains biome is close to a desert. It still has the cacti in it, but it has more trees in it. So that means that you still have the added benefit of food, a high food supply without animal kills. So you won't have a lot of meat, but you'll still have access to water and food. Now, generally, that biome gives you still gives you a little stone when you dig. I want to see if I can hit him. Sorry, I just had a little bit of funny. So that would be the number 2 on the list of towns that you Biden you wanna start in. Now the third biome is probably a tie. It's between the snow biome and the forest biome. And the reason why is because the forest biome, these grass biome, generally have a lot of green pasture and a lot of animals in them. Downfall is sometimes the water supply, if you're not by a constant water supply, there's a bear. Don't mess with those until late game. Tell you that. Never mess with a bear. They will maul. And the reason why, they both have the positives and they both have the negatives. Now, early game forest biomes gives you a lot of animals and resources and stuff like that. But the problem is you might not get a high water supply. Or you might be in the middle of nowhere like this is. And there's no really sustainable water supply there for you. Unless you're by like a river or something. But I think that would be the generally only downfall from that. The only downfall I would say. Now, the snow biome, generally, starting out in the first area is going to be really rough because you don't have nothing to keep yourself warm, really. You're butt naked in the cold. You can make some clothes and everything, but it's not going to be necessarily the best place to actually, I would say, to start out, because even though you have an unlimited supply of water, because you can use snow to turn to water, drinkable water, it is, the temperatures are brutal and food, it might be very scarce in that biome. So they both have the positives, they both have the negatives when it comes to the snow and forest. Then the last biome is the burning biome. Well, it's 2 more. The burning biome. The burning biome is generally a decent place to start out. Problem is the dogs that are probably occupying that area. And zombie dogs are hit on this. And this game is very OP from what they used to be. And now that I still haven't found the base yet, we're going to keep looking because I'm trying to find a desert biome. But it seems like I'm not going to find one. Or at least a plains biome. I might be coming up on it. Might be coming up, but I'm gonna wrap this up and let y'all know the next episode that we're going to do is going to locate a base, a PUI base, let you know what. Ooh, nice. That's unfair. That's 2 cards on top of 1, and you're not giving me the other card. Okay. We're gonna try to locate a base. I was hoping to start in a biome that I described, like a desert biome, or even the plains biome. But we're going to end it right there. And what we're going to do is also let you know that I also stream on Twitch. That you can catch me at Spider1000MTG at twitch.tv. Oh, we found the city. Not the ideal place. But we're going to end it there. And we're going to let you know that also this is the first video. This is part 1 of my playthrough of 7 Days to Die for console, Xbox One edition. And if you want to see this channel grow, hit that like and subscribe. I am going to try to get a schedule on how videos are uploaded, but stay tuned for that. It should be posted in the description soon enough. But thank you, and I think I'll end it here.